Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Friday, which means it is time for another Nozz Watches High School of the Day. Oh, boy. On the last episode, we had some weird psychopathic sexual tension, which is a phrase I never want to say again, so let's not. But hey, the whole party's together again, and now they have a big fuck-off mansion, so as per zombie apocalypse rules, somebody on one of the two sides is going to do something either out of character or just absolutely fucking brain dead and ruin it for everyone, as is tradition. I mean, they basically spoiled it on the next time on Dragon Ball Z bit at the end, so might as well get that genie out of the bottle, huh? But fuck it, let's get in here and let's see just how they do it, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, and go! Well, that's a fucking acceleration. That's a fucking acceleration. Why? Yeah, you went real fucking far in like one day, huh? What the fuck was that? Like, well, they going out fucking sunbathing or something? Can't wait to see how they fuck it up, though. Like, that is honestly the thing I'm looking forward to. Because, like, during a zombie apocalypse, group dynamic is everything. And, like, one of the best ways to introduce group tension is introduce a new factor, like, say, having to cooperate with an already established group, that then turns into just all-around enfucking, I guess. Enfucking of the situation. Yeah. I always forget to brush my hair before I record. So it's like, it's all... Ugh. It's been like a whole ass day. As you can see, it's fucking dark outside. Like... Yeah, like, I really hope this doesn't go the way of The Walking Dead, which is somehow still fucking going. I got an advert for it, like, the other day. Like, when I was watching a friend of mine on Twitch, and I'm just like, how the fuck are you still going? Didn't Rick get fucking killed or something, and now Carl's Who the fuck is the protagonist now? Is it Norman Reedus? How is he doing with that fetus? What is it? What is this medicine for? What, has she got fucking syphilis or some shit? Stop being so horny. She wanted you to give her a back rub, you dense motherfucker. I'm Ace and I figured that out. So what is this fucking medicine? What the f- Ah. Ah, so that's going to be... That's going to be the point of contention, huh? These kids who have survived shit that would put most adults to shame. They're going to be treated like children because they are literally children. Despite the fact that the show is going to sexualize the fuck out of them. Japan, go to jail. The entire fucking island. Go to jail. Y'all were eye-fucking last episode. Y'all best stop being so goddamn coy. I'm okay, I'm just an orphan. And then I read this comic called Batman. I don't even know what her fucking first name is anymore. I've already fucking forgotten because she's done nothing. You fucked up, idiot. Your harem self-destructing. Damn, I liked her better in the fireman's outfit. That's not a house, that's a fucking small village. That is a small fucking village they live in. Like it's a medieval keep, my dude. Oh hey, they recovered the Humvee at least. That dude's boner can only get bigger. But why? You could literally hold out for... You could literally produce your own. You have running water. You could make a fucking water wheel. Wait! I mean, they could change that. You could set up entire settlements. You could set up entire settlements inside power plants. But regardless, though, these people could 110%. These people could 100% live out in this fucking place forever. They have access to what they could generate their own electricity fairly easily, it looked like, from the overview of the fucking building. Water, even water wouldn't be that hard to come across there. They'd have to do some restructuring of the buildings, but I'd rather live in a place that was safe but had no natural electricity and water and have to solve that problem than a place that has natural electricity and water but has no defenses. Because places got natural electricity and water, that's going to attract not just zombies, it's also going to attract people. If you make your own electricity and water, people aren't going to think to come there unless they're super desperate, at which point you got big fuck-off walls. I don't know, man. This seems like a very, very defensible long-term place. Seriously, though, what's wrong with Ray? I deadass do not remember. I know she fell on her ass at one point. Well, did she hit the electric fence? Like, the only issue with this hideout is the fact that... Yeah. The only issue is that they're being in the presence of a much larger and much more, like, regimented group that is holding back to, like, the old Japanese bullshit, right? They're not allowing these capable kids to be, you know, productive members of the society just because they're kids. That's how you get... That's how you wind up dying. Society is over, asshole. God, even fucking Tadashi's going by the old fucking Japanese. You gotta respect your elder. Your elders are gonna fucking die, dude. Then... I mean, in their defense, you almost died like 6 times before joining up with fucking Tadashi. And fucking, Fat Boy, Columbine-san. It's really hard to take him seriously when he's wearing capris. Like, seriously, my dude. This is a very important conversation. You couldn't wear, like, actual pants? Joke's on him. She's into being manhandled. That's her kink. Well, that's not a good sound. What? Who the fuck? Why does her dad look like a JoJo character? What the fuck? And so I have put him in this cage, because I thought it was hilarious. Also, he's a zombie. That's irrelevant. But he didn't finish himself before dying. I don't know, Chief. Imagine if this backfired. Imagine if this fucking backfires. Well, that's the fucking water poisoned. Somebody could have drunk that, asshole. Seriously. Like, nice show of fucking macho bullshit, but... Fucking water is very, very precious right now, dumbass. But yeah. I guess that's how he plans on keeping this, alright. That's... Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yep. Except he's like 100% correct, though. Like, Japanese swords are not great. They're not, like, Japanese swords are not designed for long-term, what's the word? It's not, Japanese swords are not intended for, like, long amounts of combat. They're intended for dueling, suicide, or last fucking ditch efforts. What you want is you want a spear. Because then you can keep them at a distance. Even a European-style sword would be better because while it was also not designed for super long-term engagements, they did also make certain swords that were intended for long-term use. And a lot of those lessons would have gone into smaller side swords. Not all of them, mind you, but there are some that exist. But yeah, you want a spear in this situation. If you have to use a melee weapon, you want a spear. An axe, maybe. Halberd is ideal, because then that's both. But halberds are a little harder to use, so... And I don't mean like a pokey spear, I mean a spear with a cutting edge. So a Naginata would be cool. And so they wanted to go back. Yeah, I know this story. Difference being, this Tahiti's being run by a guy on a fucking power trip. Like honestly, this place, the moment that guy showed what he wanted, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this place is gonna collapse within maybe 3 months, maybe a couple years. If they're lucky. 3 months is probably the better estimate, maybe 5. Because that's the fun thing about authoritative states. Without power to back it up, they collapse. And this guy is currently in power because everyone's fucking terrified. The moment this becomes the new norm, you're gonna start getting people who are like, hey, why are we following this big burly asshole? And they're going to fucking move against him. Because all he's running with is fear right now. And also disarming the populace. So this guy is going through, like, every fucking checklist of authoritative state during a period of anarchy. This is not lasting. This is a world where being armed is the only thing that's kept these people alive. The moment you start disarming that populace is the moment they start fucking fighting back. So, yeah, once again. This is why authoritative states, ironically, do worse in situations like this. Unless he handles this correctly. Unless Takagi's dad handles this correctly. Okay, how's he doing this? Refuse to disarm. He is a warrior. Hirano, stop crying. You are a warrior. Can't be breaking the fucking laws of... Can't be breaking the fucking laws of, etiquette. No. Hands off my man's guns. Which, honestly, I imagine he definitely expected to happen by now. I love how this entire time she's got the fucking Moe thing on. Oh, and that's it. Fuck's it. 4 minutes of okay. But yeah, I guess I get to talk about this, but... So, during an apocalypse situation, right? Societally, yeah, it's anarchy, right? It is every and I don't mean anarchy as in like, yeah, anarchy, race war, and that. Like, no, not that. I mean like the traditional form of anarchy where there is no government oversight, there is no ruling body, there is nothing. There's only the individual human being and the force they can exert like on their immediate surroundings. Right now, Takagi's dad has a lot more power than the majority of the rest of the people in his compound because he owns the compound. He has the most people working for him. What he is paying them is unclear. Could be that he's paying them, like, actual money because maybe the idea that currency has broken down hasn't sunk in yet. Or maybe he's paying them in extra food rations. Who knows? My money is probably on the second. Problem with that, though. Eventually that's going to get out and that's going to cause unrest. So what you need to do in this situation is you need to create some sort of pseudo-libertarian democracy where each individual person is still... Oh, hang on. Who the fuck is this fucking L-looking motherfucker? Jesus Christ, okay. Fight against the rapist, let's go. And of course, he's turned the bus into his own little harem. Of course he has. Of fucking course he has. Jesus. Damn, so they're just getting right to fighting against him, huh? Fuck, alright. But yeah, so in a society like this, like at the very least at the start of everything, like the ideal government you want to, like assuming you set up a settlement immediately, which is probably not the best idea, you probably want to wait a little bit until things have become like a little bit more the new normal. Yep. But if you do manage to get a settlement set up immediately, which these people basically have, it's been like, what, less than a week? What you'd want to do is you'd want to set up some sort of libertarian democracy where there are people in charge, probably ideally a singular person, because that way you don't have bureaucracy weighing everything down. But you have everybody is able to exert their own will just a little bit, but there is still a strong figure that everyone has agreed that's the guy in charge. Not because he's exerting will over them, not because he's an autocrat, not because he's a fucking bastard who's gonna stab you to death in your sleep, but because you respect him and you are willing to sign over a small amount of your freedoms in exchange for his leadership and protection of the whole, right? So it's less one guy is the leader and more like he is the representative of the group, right? And in situations where quick action is required, he's the one who's like, okay, guys, we need to pick up and go. But otherwise, everybody maintains their own autonomy. That would be what you would kind of need, because you're in the midst of apocalypse at this point. You're in the middle of anarchy. There is nothing left. And in this sort of situation, that's what you need. You need that flexibility. You need... Basically, it's basically taking, like, the small survivor group, right? So say you've got... Say you got, like, the group we have here, right? We've got Tadashi, we've got Hirano, we've got Takagi, we've got Rei, we've got Miss Shizuka, whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah, you've got all them. Tadashi is clearly the leader, but everyone else still has their own goals, motivations, and actions and such that they take. They don't defer to Tadashi, and Tadashi's like, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Everyone has their own shit they're doing, but everyone's working together. Like, for the opening, the opening of a zombie apocalypse, and I believe I think I've mentioned this a little bit before, but not in as much detail. You'd want that, but on a wider scale, if you're going to set up a settlement, which I would not recommend you do, because, like, once again, everything's still anarchy. There's nothing stopping fucking rioting. And zombies are going to be at their highest point because the most amount of people are going to die in the opening time, which means you're going to have the most amount of fresh zombies, and fresh zombies are the most dangerous zombies, usually in media. An authoritative government, like the one I feel like Takagi's dad is trying to set up, whether he's doing it like mentally or not, it's going to work well in the short term. But the problem is, though, like I said, like he gets maybe 3 months, maybe 5, maybe a year or 2. But the people are eventually going to wake up and go, hang on, why the fuck am I listening to this asshole? Because people are in the grips of anarchy. There are going to be people, especially in societies that were themselves very authoritative, which Japan fucking is. You're going to have people that are going to want to look to authority. That's just how humans work. And so if you have a strong man who's able to, or strong woman, strong man here is just a term. Yeah, if you have a strong man who's willing to be like, oh yes, follow me, I have resources, I have people that work for me, I have this, I have that. Yes, we'll survive together. All you have to do is listen to me and surrender your freedoms. Look at this guy, he was my greatest friend, he sacrificed himself for the cause, but now he is undead. Now he is dead. That sort of thing, that sort of rule by fear kind of thing, that inspiration of the hero archetype. Hey, did you realize I'm describing fascism? Because that's what it is. What that does is it's going to work initially for that short amount of time. But it's not going to work in the long term, because in order to control people, you need to organize what food goes where, what water goes where, who has weapons and who doesn't. Basically, you need to micromanage every single little aspect of people's lives and try and force them to do that automatically themselves by instilling fear and a hero complex. Once again, which is how fascism works. And that's why fascism works on a small scale for short terms, which is exactly what we have here. If fascism goes long enough, it starts to break down, especially when you have no more heroes left, which is going to happen so long as you're not at war. Problem with an apocalypse is eventually things will settle into a new normal, which means that it's no longer a war, which means you're no longer getting more heroes, you're just getting a list of fucking casualties every day, because, as the world's greatest communist once said, one death is a tragedy. Or a useful thing to create a hero. But 1,000 deaths is a statistic. Eventually, you get to statistic levels, and you're like, well, now we've got so many heroes. Yeah, this new guy's not really inspiring the fear at this point. Hey, why are we listening to that asshole? Hey, why are we letting that asshole dictate where all the food goes? Why are we letting that asshole dictate where all the water goes? Why are we letting that asshole dictate who gets to tell us what to do? Why are we doing exactly what this jackass wants to do when society has fallen? He's got no inherent worth better than any of the rest of us. Why don't we just leave? Or better yet, fucking kill his ass. Which then descends into anarchy again. But this time you don't have anarchy plus the remnants of society. You have anarchy in the middle of the fucking apocalypse's settlement period. Which means there is no infrastructure to fucking fall back on. Which means that after the dust settles, there is going to be nothing left. That's just how it works. And I feel like Takagi's dad is making the #1 biggest fucking mistake you can goddamn make, and that is trying to run this like an authoritarian state. Now, I don't know whether taking away Hirano's guns came from the top down, or if this is just these fucking lieutenants, which I'm assuming they are because they seem to be talking with some sort of authority, and they did call him boss, so that does make me think that they are subordinates to the boss, to Boss Takagi. Like, makes me think that this order came down from Takagi down, right? So he's already disarming the populace, and seeing as most of the people in the crowd did not even have a handgun, that makes me think that it's already happened, and now Hirano is kind of like, he's come in, he's got all these guns, and these people are like, hey! That's against the rules! Which also weakens the populace to exterior assault, because while Takagi can arm all of the fucking private guards he wants, it's not going to be big enough to expel any real organized attack. Which, from that fucking Shido teaser, I feel like is gonna come. Although it's gonna be like a bunch of high school students that have been sexually abused for the last week, but oh well. But the thing I really like, though, the thing I like the most, is the fact that Takagi is being shown to be 100% in the wrong. And the best part about that is the person who is pointing out that he's wrong is Saya, his own fucking daughter. That's fucking great. That's fucking... The fact that, especially, like, in the context of Japanese, where, like, you've got that, like, seniority hierarchy kind of thing. Like, she should be agreeing with everything he says on principle, just because he's her dad. But Saya's like, no, I love my parents. They're great. They got all this set up immediately. But they left me for dead, and they're fucking assholes. Not, like, separately. Not like they left me for dead, ergo they're assholes. They left me for dead, and they are assholes. Like, that's pretty fun. Like she's probably not going to go into as detail about it, because not everyone is a giant fucking, like sociology nerd like I am, but hey, there you go. Yeah, I think I have had, like, a less detailed version of this conversation, like, in a previous episode, whereas, like, a libertarian society is harder to set up and maintain at the start, but once you get it going, it's best for long term. Authoritarian states, though, they work really, really well in the short term, but after the long term, they will break down, because people will eventually be like, hey, hang on a fucking minute. So yeah, so that's the thing. And that's why setting up a society, like, early on, bad idea. You gotta wait until it's become the new normal, and people are used to being able to carry around their own power and exert their own power. And then you need to get a like-minded group of people together, which will then turn into a society naturally. Because that's how societies grew in the first place. Like, monarchy, feudalism, mercantilism, corporate oligarchies, which is what we are in currently. We're not in a capitalist society, we're in a fucking oligarchical one. Oh boy. All of these, like, centralized systems that come down, they are unnatural, right? They are 100% unnatural. They came up with because one guy went, I don't like other people exerting power the same as I do. I'm gonna exert more power. So, like, I'm gonna exert power because, this sky god I made up says I'm better. The amount of money I have says I'm better. The corporation I run says it's better. The bribes to fucking, senators says I'm better. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, trying to force an authoritarian thing during a situation where society has been reset to zero is just asking for problems, because it's sociologically impossible to maintain, because people are going to revert to monkey. And if you revert to monkey, you're going to start seeing people naturally adopt more libertarian ideas, because that's how it be. That is the... Humans are naturally tribalistic, yes, but we're also naturally individualistic. So you gotta like maintain that paradox. Protect tribe, but also protect me. Also protect family. You need a government that can do all three, and libertarian democracies do that. Like, specifically social democracies. Social libertarian democracies, because those ones have safety nets. But that's not political theory for me, because nobody has actually tried a socially libertarian democracy yet. No one has tried that yet. Because guess what? They're really fucking hard to set up. They are ridiculously hard to set up, because they suffer from a lot of like early pitfalls, and which can then turn them into federalist states, republics, regular democracies, fucking autocracies. Like that's the problem. But if they do last for long enough, in theory they're good. And that's why they're perfect for this sort of scenario, because everyone is on the level of monkey. And we will never be on that level of monkey again. I just like talking about sociology, can you tell? I need to take more sociology classes, but I've taken them all. Boy. But yes, this episode itself. Can you tell I liked it? Can you tell? I like it a lot. All of the fan service, still cringe. Still not a fan of that. Wish there was less of that. But that's all I'm going to say on it, because otherwise I'll be repeating myself for the last fucking 9 episodes. Overall, I really like the conflict going on about how everybody is... Like, nobody really on the main team is like, oh man, this place is fucking great. Everyone's kind of looking at this being like, okay, this place has its perks, but there's like a lot of fucking skeevy shit. Like, the fact that these kids are bright enough and sociologically, like, aware enough to be like, oh yeah, no, this place is fucked. This place is fucked. Like, either we get absorbed or we split up. And the way they talk about being absorbed as, like, this big negative, like, really fucking, like, they don't gotta say why that's bad. Like, just by context clues and, like, what's going on around you, the viewer can be like, oh yeah, no, that'd be fucking awful. Like, that's really great. I like that a lot. It's very much, it's environmental storytelling, contextual storytelling, and that's really great. Not something I would have expected from the zombie show with the titties. I like how Hirano is kind of the one that feels the brunt of this, because he is the most libertarian out of all of them. Probably because he's been the most exposed to Western ideas, and libertarianism as a philosophy is a Western idea. Like I said, it is very much something that's like, if enough humans return to monkey, it will happen naturally, but its first real description and awareness does originate in the West. So it does make sense that he's the one who's like the most affected by this, because he is the most libertarian of the group, like naturally, because he's been exposed to that. The way that we actually just get to see from functionally a bird's eye view, because our protagonists are on a balcony watching it happen. Like the fear and lionization and hero complex being instilled and just fucking hammered in to the people. Like, that's really good as well, and it has really, really big fascist overtones. Undertones. Overtones is a different thing. That is really, really good. I like that a lot. Because it's something that everybody can recognize. Everybody can recognize fascist undertones, even if they don't know that's what it is. Because like if you're looking at like fascism from like an external, like, third party, if you're not swept up in it and you're looking at it from outside, you're like, dude, that's fucked. Like, even if you don't recognize that as what it is, you're like, because that's the thing. Fascism is not intended for the people outside the group, it's intended for the people inside the group. So from the inside, it looks fine. But from outside, you're like, no, none of that, please. The argument about swords was dumb. And it literally just reeks of, like, the Japanese just having such fucking hard-ons for their fucking swords. Despite the fact that even, like, when the swords were relevant, they weren't fucking used. Like, in medieval warfare, right, if you had a longsword on here, right, if you had a longsword, that was still your sidearm, but you knew that, like, if fighting broke down into, like, a brawl, right, that sword was gonna last you the fucking rest of the battle, right? Like, ideally, you have your pike. Maybe you've got a shield. If you're on cavalry, you've got maybe, like, a fucking, riding sword. Or maybe, like, a fucking lance, right? Maybe, who knows, right? You got all sorts of fucking shit, like, depending on, like, what era you're in and where you're from. But if you've got a fucking long sword, short sword, arming sword, great sword, which actually wouldn't be over here. It'd be more like you're carrying it like this over your shoulder the entire time. Like, you know that sword's gonna fucking last you. It might, like, if you have to use it at the start of the battle, maybe not, but if you, like, lose your spear halfway through, that sword's gonna take you through. You're in a Japanese fucking combat, though, and you lose your naginata, you lose your pike, you lose whatever fucking weapon you got issued. You lose your bow and arrow. You know that katana is taking maybe the guy who broke your spear and knocked it out of your hands, maybe the guy after him while you're trying to pick your spear back up, and failing that, it's taking you. like, that's it. That's it. Like, you did have, like big swords that were intended for use for, like, main thing, but that's like saying a great sword, because that's functionally what it was. Yeah, so Japanese swords suck. They're intended for dueling, suicide, and last-ditch efforts. That's it. That's what they're for. And also looking cool in fucking movies, I guess. Yeah, like, that's, like the one negative I have, actually. Other than the fan service, but that's, like, always there. If I ever don't mention it, then pretend I mentioned it. But yeah, that's really all I gotta say. It's good fucking episode. Like, it really, really got my sociology brain going. I'm really enjoying how, like, watching Japanese society break the fuck down because of a zombie apocalypse, and watching it slowly be rebuilt in different ways. So far, it's been mostly wrong ways, but that's how it be. In the event of an apocalypse, most of humanity is going to rebuild wrong. And it's going to be the few that rebuild correctly that are going to be the ones that continue after the apocalypse. Because that's how a societal bottleneck works. And they keep happening in history. We're due for one. They happen every 1,000 or so years. And we are very much due for one. I'm terrified. I'm absolutely fucking terrified of when that happens. We might already be going through it. Keep your eye out for any societies that collapse. Holy fuck. But that's all I gotta say. So let me know what you thought of this down there in the comments. Whether you liked it, you disliked it, or you want to bring up something I forgot to talk about, which is entirely fucking possible, because I just looked down at how long we've been going, and oh boy, yeah, no, we gotta end this. As always, everybody, I am Nozz. Remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, share social media, tell your friends, hit the share button down below, and if you want, you can support me on Patreon or via Streamlabs, which are linked down there in the description and on the end card. Big thanks to everyone who does that. You guys are the absolute best. You keep the show up and running, and you help me get new equipment. Speaking of which, my computer is dying, so yeah, I gotta start saving that money real quick. So, big thank you to everyone who's doing that, and you guys are the best. If you want more content from me, then I do try and post anime every single day at around noon, and I also try and live stream every single day. Today, the day this goes up, is Sai's birthday, so there is a very good chance I will not be streaming today. But if I wind up doing, because they oversleep, because they are very busy, they're a very busy person, then I will be streaming at 4, and that'll be Hollow Knight. If I don't stream today, then that Hollow Knight stream will be tomorrow at 4, and I hope to see you there. Oh boy. As always, everybody, become a goblin today, and I will see you a real